Welcome back, everybody, to World Series edition of Dong City, October 26, 2020, show number 37. Boy, I'm excited to get to this. I know you guys are. Vince Mercandetti, Rob Martinez in the background. Vince, how you doing today, baby?
Doing great, man. This is a little bittersweet of a Dong City. It's our last live live sports episode, last baseball episode. Then we go back into the unknown winter that we spent way too much winter last time on. So I'm hoping this is a shorter one. But other than that, doing great. Next time I talk to you, Henry, the bathroom should be done. So that's what's going on in my world. How's everything for you?
No more punching holes in the bathroom after Aaron Boone's,
Yeah, man. If I have to hear one more saw or drilling or anything else, I'm going to lose my mind.
We are two more Dong City. We are one more Dong City episode. This one and next week away from no more election talk.
Oh yeah,
no more election talk. So that should be great.
Next week, because I thought about this. Next week, our episode is the night before the election.
Yes.
So maybe we'll incorporate something into that. But if you haven't,
maybe we'll have a Wednesday show just to somebody will be drowning their sorrows in something. So.
Yeah, very exciting times for America. But nothing more American though than the World Series, which we are. So far, so good, I would say. I don't know. How do you feel so far about this World Series? We're 5 games in, so it could end tomorrow. Oh, you went muted.
Oh, there we go.
There you
go. When we started our predictions, I said that I wanted a classic series. I predicted 7 games. I predicted a classic, and we got nothing short of that. I think we're going 7. It just has to play that way with the way these games have been going. The way these teams have been scoring, the way they've been punching each other one in the mouth, we got to go 7, man. It's the only thing left in this World Series is we need some Game 7 action. That's the only thing missing.
I'm with you. I'm rooting for it to go 7, and that's not terribly difficult. The Rays just have to win tomorrow, and they
have the pitching edge.
Yeah, they've got Snell back on the mound, and then if you have a Game 7, like that's a clear path because then you have Morton versus Buehler, and that's like. I don't think Morton will lay an egg twice. We'll get into him later. But yeah, I'm with you. I hope it goes 7. This series, Henry, is really reminding me a lot of 2016. Just the way it's I know that the Indians had a 3-1 lead, but you look at the two teams, right? Indians were kind of the first team to really have that sort of run prevention, relying on their bullpen type thing. They did it by necessity. But they were doing that in 2016 against this Cubs juggernaut. Cubs who hadn't won in a while, obviously a lot longer than the Dodgers haven't won.
Yeah.
And then you look at that series, and it was like the Indians just like death by 1,000 cuts. We're up 3-1 in that series. Cubs come running back. But that series really didn't have a classic. Like it had one good game,
right?
Till Game 7, and then Game 7 was an all-time short list of greatest World Series games ever. That's what I'm hoping for here. We have had one classic, one all-time classic in this series. You have a great Game 7, this becomes an all-time series.
No, I think if we have the Game 4 moments and the Game 7, you close the book and say this is one of the greatest ones ever.
Yeah, it's on the short. If it goes 7, that's step 1. And if you have a Game 7 classic, this is right there with anything.
I think even Dodger fans have to admit they want to see a Game 7. That's a nice way of saying that they want the Rays to win, but they want to see a Game 7.
Yeah.
Anyone who's a baseball fan wants to see a Game 7, especially in this matchup.
Yeah, well, it's even better when you're not rooting for either team, right?
Exactly.
Like, I don't care about the fans. I just, they can get tortured all we want. I wanted to go 7. But, Henry, we've both been in that position, right, where we've had our team in Game 7 of the World Series, and it is just the worst thing ever if you're a fan.
It's gut-wrenching. It's hold on, my computer's about to restart. No, not now. Like you said, it's a punch gut. You want it to be over. You want to sweep. You don't care if it's ugly. You don't care what. You just want to win.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the world, man, we're watching this, and we're saying we need a Game 7. I want to see Kershaw come out of the bullpen in a big spot for something, man. We need this. We need this as baseball fans. MLB has done a fantastic job with this postseason, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it, man.
Me too. It's come full circle with MLB. We spent so much time. I mean, they handled everything wrong in the offseason. And then we get to the regular season, and it's a rocky start, right? The Marlins and Cardinals have their outbreaks. Everyone's starting to say cancel the season. We're making fun of them in front of closed doors. Um,
And open ones.
yeah, but then we get to the postseason, and I'm with you. They have done everything right. The bubbles have worked. No COVID. The COVID's not even on the radar right now.
Yeah.
It's not going. I mean, we're in the clear now. There's not going to
Flash-
be.
They flashed something at the bottom, the ticker on the bottom of the screen a couple of days ago. I think it was like 59 consecutive days without a positive test or something like that.
Yeah, and now you've got after MLB was the laughing stock. Everyone was like, "Why didn't they do what hockey did? Why didn't they do what basketball did?" Now you have basketball talking about copying baseball next season. They want to start in December, and they want to consolidate travel. So there's less travel days, less off days, shorter season, all that stuff.
Yeah, basketball is a whole different animal. But they have they have a different problem on their hands because the product was so much better when they were at the bubble.
Yeah,
So it's like, oh shit, we need fans, we need all this other stuff. But the game itself, the entertainment value was so much better when they were in the bubble.
yeah.
Maybe they weren't going to get some ribs, or whatever the case is. But the game in basketball was better in the bubble. Baseball they did good. You know, hockey did well. MLS were the kings of everything, and football. Look, football's football, man. The NFL's the NFL.
They
They're
don't
sweeping
care.
shit under the rug. They got false positives. They got a whole bunch of shit going on in football. So baseball, they did this. They did this right.
Yeah, they're coming out looking nice. This World Series, if it ends tomorrow and if it ends 9-1 Dodgers, it was a good series still. It's certainly not going to be all time ranked, but yeah, you get to that game seven and you get to a classic game seven, like Kershaw's coming in relief,
Yep.
and then you're winning in the 10th or 11th or 12th inning. Then you've got something to really talk
Not
about.
only that, I want to see how many times the Dodgers can get Dave Roberts off the hook because he's been making a ton of head scratching moves in this series, bro. Things that should have bitten him in the ass.
I'm not going to issue an apology to Aaron Boone, but I'm going to say at least I know there's someone as bad as Aaron Boone out there because he is the NL Boone.
It's
I
funny.
mean, this guy is a spitting image of incompetence.
If you ask me which guy would I rather have, I'd rather have Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of miscues, a lot of nervousness, a lot of things that I watch with Roberts and I say, that's fucking Aaron Boone all over again.
Yeah, I want to Dodgers fans. If you're in here, just start listing out all the things you've disagreed with in this World Series so far that Dave Roberts has done because we want some refreshers. I mean, I know I've seen. I'm very obviously very harsh on managerial decisions, right? And I make them in the moment. This isn't something I go back to and like that didn't work out. I didn't like it. Like you can see in the game threads, we talk about it as they happen. Dave Roberts has been Cash butchered game one. I mean, they got killed. He butchered game one for sure, but since then, Dave Roberts has been the man of the hour when it comes to bad managerial decisions.
And the Dodgers have continued to bail him out with big hits. He calls on the wrong guys at the wrong time, and they still get the outs. So that bullpen is gassed. Both bullpens are gassed, honestly.
Yeah.
And there's no way that these games could have gone without a break because those bullpens have nothing left.
It would have been a bad product. I got that question a lot from people. Hello, AJ, welcome. I got that question a lot from people. Why is the World Series having off days? Because they're still in a bubble. My personal opinion, I thought I would actually, just for symmetrical reasons or consistency reasons, I would love if the ALDS 5-game series stayed with no off days. That was exciting. ALCS give them one off day, and the World Series keep with the 2 off days. And the reason is, as you get deeper into the postseason, these guys are tired.
Yep.
And especially relievers, especially in this day and age, they're pitching most of the innings at this point. Rays do not have a single starter with a World Series win yet.
It's brutal. But yeah, I'm with you. Wild card and DS, no games.
Yeah.
ALCS, NLCS, give me after game 3 off. That seems, right after game 3, you take 2 days. You don't even have to take one. Take 2 days. But I like that idea. But I'm not ready to say bye to baseball. I need something else, man.
Yeah,
I need
I'd
that
like
hot stove to come quick. I need some WBC chatter. I need Caribbean World Series. I need something, man.
yeah, it's Michelle saying trusting Jansen is definitely that's a classic analytics move, by the way,
Holy shit, is it?
because these guys don't believe in hot and cold. So like Jansen could just pitch like an asshole over and over again, and they're just going to keep him there because he statistically has the highest chance of closing out the ninth inning, or he's the best pitcher statistically. So they'll stick with him.
Dude,
This is the type of stuff that's nonsense to me.
you're watching it, and his breaking ball has nothing. And
Nothing.
he's left with his throwing his fastball. And you're talking about throwing that fastball to a lineup full of guys that just feast on it, and he's got nothing left. They're sitting there waiting on one pitch, and they're hitting it, and they're hitting it harder. They're fouling it off. You could just see that just growing and growing and growing. And he had a Chapman moment. That's why I was calling him Kenley Chapman in the thread.
Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday. He loves Treinen and Jansen, and you got Grudal has been great.
Dude, Gratterall has come out and just lit up this. He's throwing triple digits. His shit is moving left and right, up and down. The kid is fired up. Urias is doing his thing. It's just let the kids play, man. Forget this dedicated role bullshit already. We've proven that.
Yeah,
That's old style baseball. That shit doesn't work. Don't give me one guy has to pitch tonight. No, give me the fireman. Yo, this is the biggest spot of the game. It's the seventh inning. You're my best pitcher. This is where the fuck you're pitching, and that's it.
if you had an analytics that because the Rays do that, right? They bring in their guys in the highest leverage. That makes sense. If you had a balance of that and feel, that's the perfect balance of analytics to me. Sometimes there's a guy who's pitching and he's just on, and he's throwing non-stress innings.
You ride that dude.
Yesterday was a great example of that. Grudal, and it worked out for the Dodgers, but it was a risk. Grudal was fantastic in that game. Dustin May was fantastic in that game.
So there's the thing. There was no reason. There was no reason to pull him, and there was no reason to bring in May. It worked because, like I said, they've been saving his ass. May pitched phenomenally, but there was no reason to bring him in.
Right.
You could have kept riding that horse 2 more innings, if maybe,
Right.
Even game 1, they took Kershaw out early, and I gave him a pass there because I said, you know what? It's game 1. They're up big. He's at 70-something pitches. I got it. You need him to come back for game 4, maybe game 7 made sense. But then he just kept pulling guys left and right. I didn't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, and as Manny's pointing out, the Rays kept Glasnow in. So Glasnow wasn't pitching great, but he did give up most of his damage early, so there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, they weren't going to pull him with 2 runners on the first. And then he gave up just the one more run, I think, that home run to Muncy. So
I think he being Cash learned in the Yankee series, because if you remember, Glasnow was playing with the Yankees. His off-speed pitch was it was dancing against the Yankees. Second time through the order, toward the end of it, they loaded the bases. They were working walks, and instead of letting them work out of it, he pulled them right away, and boom, he gave up the 3-run. I think it was a double, and all 3 of those runs were charged to Glasnow. So his stats look worse than they actually were. Yeah. I think he learned from that, and he pushed them, because I said, okay, they're gonna have to pull this kid, and they relied on him and they let him work through it. So kudos to him for that.
By the way, we got AJ saying in the comments that he took down his Giants flag, replaced it with a Niner flag because of the season. I think we know the real reason that AJ's replacing his Giants flag with a Niners flag. It's not because it's football season, AJ. You look at those 2 teams; they're in very different places right now.
Right there, baby.
Yeah, it's okay to admit it. Manny, the question about home field. So how I would do it is the play-in game. I like the idea of a 3-game series instead of 1 for wild card, but I would do no off days, and I would do it all in the better team's stadium.
Yep.
I think that's an actual advantage as opposed to just 1 game that decides it all in 1 stadium. So a best of 3, all in 1 stadium, no off days. You do the ALDS. Now adding travel, yeah, it's going to be tough, but maybe you do a getaway day, game 3, and then you have them travel and go to game 4.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. You have to give an advantage to the better team, and that's the perfect one.
Right. So I'm still good with no off days in the DS. I think you just deal with the fact you have to have a quick turnaround time. And then the CS, like Henry said, probably after game 3 makes the most sense. That guarantees an off day. So, then you have your travel day. So CS, yeah, it would be an off day on a non-travel day, which is kind of weird because
What is it? It's
it'd
two,
be a 2-3-2.
3-2. Uh,
So maybe you do your off day after game two, and then
yeah,
just don't have one the rest of the time.
you might have to have two then.
Yeah,
You might
that
have
is
to
a
have
good point.
a day off after game 2 and a day off after game 5.
Right. Well, that's how it is now, or how it normally is.
Yeah,
And then you do the same in the World Series. So
especially if you
yeah, I
have
mean,
an East-West thing, that year.
yeah, the problem is, yeah, you don't know how far they have to travel. It could work out in some cases, not others, but you have to keep these things uniform. Excuse me.
Have a Subway Series every year. Call it a day.
Yeah, just rank the seatings based on who's located close to each other.
Michelle tried to call you out, and I tried to do it subtly by just pronouncing his name correctly, and she's like, "No, it's not Gruderall."
Was I saying Gruderall? I feel like I
Yeah,
knew
you
it.
were.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah,
No, it's Gruderall. Yeah.
Gradroll. Yeah.
Like you were
Um,
saying it, and I kept hearing "I am Groot" in my head.
yeah. Sometimes I just like white out of my mouth. It just happens. So yeah, Gradroll. But anyway, yeah, that's the biggest takeaway for me with Dave Roberts is he doesn't give a shit as far as performances or anything. He just goes to his formula, which is very Aaron Boone like. That's the thing that drives us nuts. And then Cash did make the mistake in game 1. But since then, like his formula, this is the main difference to me. The Rays win because of their system. Like their system, they specifically have 5 lefties in their bullpen, 6 righties in their bullpen. They throw different speeds, different arm angles and shit. We've seen it documented. That's how they win. They have maximized every possible matchup, so it favors them in run production or run prevention. The Dodgers just have a shitload of talent, and that's the difference. So Roberts
gas
can do
after gas after gas. Going back, not to cut you off, going back, did you see the graphic that they did on Fox with the clock and the arm slots for the Rays pitchers?
Yes.
That was so fantastic. They just had all the different pitchers and arm slots, basically starting from 9 to 3.
That's what I was alluding to. Yeah.
That shit was amazing.
Like they've thought it that granularly that they've got righty lefty. You've got guys like Drake who are like trick pitchers, and then you have guys like Fairbanks who throw 100.
Yeah,
Different sides of the different arms.
arm slots, just sidewinders up top, it's everywhere.
Yeah. So when a Rays pitcher doesn't have it that day, it's a little bit more forgiving for me if you're Cash because you don't have a lot of margin for error there. You have a lot of relievers, but they're usually on some sort of set plan of some sort. That's basically what they do because they don't have 5 starters; they have 3 starters. The Dodgers, you have options usually, and Dave Roberts tends to pick the wrong ones or stick with the wrong ones or reuse the wrong ones over and over again, and that is very Aaron Boone like. Like that annoys the shit out of me.
I don't like Kevin Cash for personal reasons. I think he's a prick.
I do think he's a total whiny piece of shit.
I think he's a very, very good manager, and you can watch him learn from his mistakes as they happen. He'll make a mistake one day, and then he won't make that same mistake the next day. And that's the part of the analytics about them that I love. They do go with feel. They do go with things that just make baseball sense. It's not just a book binder that says, this situation, you do this no matter what the outcome was before, or no matter how somebody's feeling, this is what you do. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it was still the right move. So, yeah, I like those guys that still have some feel.
Now, here's the part that's hilarious, and Andrew brought this up in a post yesterday. The Dodgers have the stolen base edge 5-2, and 4 of those are Mookie.
I was about to say it's all Mookie.
So Mookie Betts is out analyticing. That's not a word. The Rays right now. Not that stolen bases are part of analytics. Traditionally, they're not. But that's one of the things the Rays do better than everyone else is run the bases, force the issue. They can't hit as many home runs as the Dodgers, so they have to score other ways. We saw it with Margot last night trying to steal home. And the Dodgers have done that better than them too, which is kind of a concerning sign if you're the Rays.
So you brought up Mookie. So let's go real quick to game 1. Let's recap game 1.
Yeah. And by the way, the Dodgers only caught once so far.
I do it when you say Mookie because to me, even though Mookie's having a World Series,
yeah,
Game 1 was the Mookie show.
Oh yeah.
Forget the score. Forget everything. Mookie led off that game. Mookie stole 2 bases. He got tacos for the world. Once you get tacos for the country, everybody loves you.
Yeah, you're
Like,
good.
you got 2 stolen bases. Everybody's getting free tacos. Mookie's going off. His glove work all over the diamond, like he's been doing all postseason. He got the opposite field home run. I saw some Rays fans say, "Oh, that wouldn't have been a home run in Dodger Stadium." The minute they said that, the graphic pops up, would have been a home run in like 20-something of the stadiums, including Dodger Stadium.
Yeah,
So,
do that all the time.
Mookie was 2 for 4. Had an RBI, had a walk, 2 stolen bases. Max Muncy, I think he had 2 RBIs, 2 hits. Chris Taylor had an RBI. Will Smith, Kike Hernandez, like we said last week, Kike Hernandez is that dude, man.
Yeah.
Every time he comes in, he does something. He came in, pinch hit, got an RBI. Kershaw was shut the fuck down. Kershaw was sitting everyone down. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 hits on 1 run, struck out 8. He was completely dominating that lineup. There was no reason to take him out other than you just wanted to save those bullets for a potential Game 7 and a Game 4 start. So,
are we good on this Kershaw narrative? Is that?
I hope so. I mean, look, Kershaw has been amazing.
2 wins now.
He
2
broke the
quality
MLB.
starts now.
Well, he has more wins than the entire race starting.
He's got more wins than every pitcher in this World Series combined, including his own.
You have
Kershaw's 2, the Rays have 0.
Yeah, 16 total strikeouts. 16 total strikeouts in 2 games.
Yeah, I think he's done 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, and under 3 runs in both.
And did he not break the postseason record for most strikeouts all time?
I think he did.
So, I mean, look, lay off Kershaw, man. Kershaw's fucking.
I'm done with it. Look,
Kershaw's top 5 pitcher all time. I don't want to hear about it. That's it.
Kershaw 2.31 ERA. I mean, it's 2 starts. So what are we looking at here? But 11 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 14 strikeouts. So it's and a 0.8.
Clayton Kershaw top 5 dead or alive, and that's just off 1 LP, baby.
This is what I have said this entire postseason. Don't just buy into narratives because they're narratives. Caveat: accept the Twins and accept the Braves because those were right.
You might as well throw the A's in there too.
Yeah. The A's are just about there. But don't just believe the Dodgers are going to choke because that's what they do. Because every team is different. Mookie's there now. He won a World Series. You just this is what I was talking about. Kershaw's going to choke. That's so lazy. Eventually, it's going to. We just saw David Price do this 2 years ago. David Price, the biggest loser on the planet, and he becomes a World Series hero in a week.
And it becomes such a shitty narrative that then people start to find excuses why it happened. You remember what happened when it happened with Peyton Manning? When Peyton Manning started to win, well, he got a good defense. He had a running game. Get the fuck out of here.
I call it LeBron syndrome, right? Every time LeBron wins a ring, it's like, well, that only happened because this happened. Well, now he's got 4 of them. So
he needed bum A to hit a 3-pointer at the button. Like, stop.
Yeah. If he didn't have Ray Allen, if he didn't have Kyrie Irving, at what point are we just like the dude wins?
So happy for Clayton Kershaw. I want one more Clayton Kershaw moment. Just because I'm a greedy ass Clayton Kershaw fan. I just want one more moment out of the bullpen in Game 7. Maybe he closes the game just for shits and giggles. That's what I want. Clayton Kershaw out of the bullpen, close the game. Dodgers win a title with him on the mound. Everyone shut the fuck up with that narrative.
I was trying to remember this, Henry. Was Kershaw your World Series MVP pick before the series? Okay, so our World Series MVP picks are in a direct clash with each other right now in my mind because Corey Seager was my pick, and right now I think if the World Series ended tomorrow and nothing dramatic happened, Seager wins MVP.
Yeah, Seager definitely wins MVP.
But to your point, if it goes 7, and if you get Kershaw out of the bullpen and he does a good job and Dodgers win the World Series, that's a tough choice.
As I said it, I'm starting, as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm formulating and I'm seeing it happen. And that's what I'm calling. I'm calling him coming out the bullpen and getting a save in Game 7.
Yeah, the Bumgarner.
He's going Smoltz.
Yep. Manny, to answer your question, if he comes in and loses it, if he comes in as, to close and loses it, like, yes, people are going to say that he chokes, but in my mind, if Clayton Kershaw has to come out of your bullpen in a game 7, something went wrong.
Right. So
And it's
here's the
not
thing.
his fault because it's not his job.
Here's the thing with that. If that were to happen, it would be a situation where he was already in the game. They were up by more than a run. They brought him in to shut things down, and he's pitched 2, maybe 3 innings, and he ends up getting the save. I don't think they're bringing him in like in a 1-run game in the 9th.
Right.
They're bringing Gratterall for that.
And they're not keeping him in if, say, the Dodgers are up 4 in the 9th and Kershaw comes in and he's not going to like give up 6 runs.
Well, I disagree. I think they would keep him in for the moment.
Not to give up 6 runs.
No. I'm saying if they're up 4, they're going to let him close out that game.
No, that I agree with. I'm just saying if he doesn't have it and if he's starting to, the wheels are starting to fall off, they're going to pull him before he can lose the World Series. Like, that doesn't make sense either. So
yeah, I that was my pick, and I want the moment, but Seager's just on another planet right now.
Yeah,
He's reminding everyone that he is that dude, and he's one of those top shortstops that we thought he was a couple seasons ago.
I mean, he has done this sort of all year. Like, he's had these hot spurts where he's just like unconsciously hot. And then obviously he was the NLCS MVP, which was the main reason I didn't want to pick him for a World Series MVP. But then it was, sometimes when you're just hot, you're hot. And that's him and Randy Arozarena, man. Like, every round of this playoff just seemed to, it doesn't matter. So, or at least the later rounds. So there's one other thing. Oh, and to Michelle's point, yes, Dodgers would have to win. We haven't talked about if the Rays win yet, like what that means. Right. Obviously, it's the franchise's first World Series, which is a big, that's big. They've been around.
That's how fast narratives in baseball can change.
Yeah.
Because with all the kudos they've been getting, if the Rays win, everyone goes right back to the Dodgers being the Trollers and the Dodgers being the Buffalo Bills, and
it all falls apart. And to a degree, not that I think the players should be blamed for choking, but to a degree, you have to wear that. If you blow a 3-2 to the Dodgers, you've got Buehler waiting in game 7. He was dominant in game 3. You've got to find a way to win one more game.
Yeah. And
it's very clear so far in this series to me the Dodgers are the better team, like talent-wise.
Well, remember, we spoke about this before the series started, whereas the Dodgers need to win. The Rays have already won.
That's house money.
Yeah, the Dodgers need to win. It's win or go home because that's it. They've come this far 3 times. You can't not go home without a chip.
Yeah, it's and they're both going to be around for a while. They're both fantastically run. They've got great farm systems, great major league talent. But the difference is that how many times can this core of Dodgers players come this close and lose? Yeah. The Rays, this is the closest they've come, but they don't know any better at this point. Like, they've never even been – I don't think they've been in the ALCS. This group hasn't been in the ALCS. So, like –
This is why I think the Buffalo Bills reference is a perfect one if they don't win.
Yeah. Eventually that gets into your head. Like, I'm concerned about that from the Yankees standpoint, not getting to the World Series. You can only lose the ALCS and ALDS so many times with a team with the expectations of winning a World Series before it's in those players' heads and they become, for lack of a better term, losers. Yep. So all the pressure is on the Dodgers. If the Rays win, it's great for their franchise. Maybe it's great for that team's location. Maybe they work out a deal in greater Tampa instead of in St. Pete or the surrounding area. No. But
nothing can save baseball there, I'm convinced.
But I think it's very possible. I just don't know if necessarily winning the World Series is the reason that they need. But it can't hurt. So there isn't much to say about the Rays if they win the World Series. It's a win for analytics. It's definitely a win for big market fans because we just get to go around saying they had a $26 million payroll and just beat $160 million higher payroll in the World Series. Like, don't tell me it's not possible for a small market team to compete.
Small market teams, owners will love it from the perspective that they can sell it to their fans.
Yeah, we don't need the money to win.
They can put more money in their pockets.
Right. It's a win-win and a lose-lose if the Rays win the World Series for big and small market fans and owners.
Yep.
But there isn't really a great narrative there if the Rays win. Like, people who don't like the Dodgers will be happy. That's pretty much like Giants fans can celebrate.
Anybody that doesn't like big markets will complain. If
Right.
you're an Angels or a Giants fan, you hate the Dodgers. If you're a small market fan, you hate the Dodgers. So,
Yeah. Ultimately, I agree with Jacob Moses. I think the Dodgers have this. I think it's gonna end tomorrow, unfortunately, just because I've been pretty pessimistic about the playoffs this whole time. I didn't think Dodgers Braves would go 7. I didn't think Rays Astros would go 7. The only series so far I thought would go the distance after the wild card round was Yankees Rays, and I was right. And the Rays won, and I was right about that too. And it only hurt me. It's not like it wasn't enjoyable for me. But all the other series I've come up short in thinking it goes the distance. I'm sticking with that here.
it has to go 7. It's the only way for this season to end. 7.
They have CB Buckner umping because then it'll go 7.
Don't ruin it.
They'll program that dude to just make up whatever strike zone he wants.
Dodgers are home, right? Home field, technically.
Yeah.
So we could see a walk-off. I mean, the possibilities are endless with the Game 7, dude.
Who do we with Game 6 tonight? Or tomorrow night? It's Snell against Gonzalez again.
I don't know.
Did I pronounce that right, Michelle? Is it Gonzalez or Gonzalez or Gonzalez?
It'd be Bueller. It could be Bueller, maybe.
No, Bueller's Game 7.
Bueller 7.
It's definitely Bueller Morton Game 7. It's definitely Snell tomorrow. I think it's got to be Gonzalez. He pitched Game.
Yeah, Tony Gonsolin.
So yeah.
Like I said earlier, advantage.
That's a good bet for Game 7. Not that I don't like him, but Snell's
advantage Rays easily. I mean, come on.
Going 7.
I would think tomorrow favors the Rays for several reasons. One of which is that
I won't say let's go Rays because I'm a Yankees fan, but I will say that I think they're winning and we're going to see a Game 7.
Yeah. It's based on the matchup. It's very plausible. I'll just stick with it. They seem to have a lead every single game. It's just a matter of whether they blow it or not.
It's 2020. We need this shit. We need more baseball. We need as much as possible.
We'll see, because every final so far in 2020 has been shitty.
Yeah.
We had
the NBA Finals was good up until Game 3.
Yeah, I'm not counting the Super Bowl because that counted for last year, but
that was shitty.
It was a good game.
Very shitty.
That was a shitty Super Bowl.
For you guys, but it was an entertaining game.
It was very entertaining until Jimmy G overthrows fucking Emmanuel Sanders. God damn it!
I mean, I loved it.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on the Jimmy G train, man.
So,
I fucking told Rob. Rob could go back to last year. Rob was like, "You're so negative." I'm like, "That dude fucking sucks."
We got Rob coming out of the woodwork for this one.
Rob, every week, me and Rob text during the Niner games, and he could tell you, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right. This fucking guy is not it."
AJ joins in. We've already trashed the Niners and the Giants so far. So
don't turn this into an audible 3-part podcast because I can do that, man.
Yeah. That's the football extension. But anyway, yes, I mean, Stanley Cup wasn't very entertaining. The NBA Finals wasn't very entertaining. This one so far has probably already been the most entertaining and hasn't even gone to the deciding game yet. But we'll see.
What have we learned? If Florida's involved, it's not going to be entertaining.
I'm trying to think of something that can disprove that, but the 2008 World Series was shitty. 2003 World Series didn't go the distance. 97, there you go. 23 years ago, Florida put up a great championship.
2003, I mean, the Marlins beat the Yankees.
Yeah, but that
hurt.
That wasn't a classic, though.
No, it was trash.
Man, that Boston and the Yankees series, that was my World Series. I could have cared less if we would have won that World Series.
That was something else.
Yeah, that was a very Yankee.
No, you know what? I take that back. That sucked because if Aaron Boone doesn't have that moment, he's not managing this team. So fuck that moment.
I always saw, this is my hot take about that. I always felt the 2003 Red Sox were better than the 2003 Yankees, and the 2004 Yankees were better than the 2004 Red Sox, and they won in reverse.
No disagreements.
So anyway,
so
all right.
So highlights, right?
Yeah, let's recap now what we've got so far. So game 1, we talked about not much to see there. Kershaw.
Mookie and Kershaw.
Yeah, that was the Kershaw show. Dodgers win handily. No real thing. Cash leaves pitchers in too long. It didn't really matter. The Dodgers were going to win that game. Rays have a habit for whatever reason, and by habit I mean it's really just the Yankees series in this one of just showing up like shit in game 1. Yankees beat the hell out of them too. And after game one, again, I said in the chat, I was like, wouldn't surprise me at all if Rays won game two. Like, this means nothing that the Rays got blown out. It's not indicative of the rest of the series. And sure enough, we go to game two. Rob, what do you have for us for game two?
We have Blake Snell right here. His performance was pretty good until later on. Couple of home runs from Corey
Blake
Seager.
Snell in this game, for a moment, I assumed it wouldn't happen. I'm the one who said that there wouldn't be a no-hitter this entire year. For a moment, he looked like he was going to be a no-hitter. I mean, he had no-hit stuff the first time through this order, into the second time through the order. Absolutely all of his pitches working, and he was locating them, which isn't always a guarantee with Snell. They run into trouble a little bit once that, he breaks down a little bit. Dodgers come back a little bit. Rays end up winning a tidy 6-4 game. But the beginning of that game, Rays scored early, which just hasn't happened often. And he was lights out. I thought it was going to be a blowout. Rays had a 5-0 lead in that game, so it certainly seemed like it was going to be a blowout. And then the Dodgers offense came alive. One thing to say about the Dodgers offense, Henry, they have not scored less than 4 runs in any game in this series, and they won one of the 2 games they scored 4. That's not a good sign for the Rays. I know
Their offense has been
that's not a good sign.
Yep, their offense is exactly what we thought it was.
Yep. So, the Chris Taylor had the home run off of Snell. Will Smith hit the home run off Anderson, who's been terrible in the series. And then Corey Seager, of course, my MVP pick, with getting his train started with that home run game 2. And here is the Seager. Yeah, so this is game 2. That's Seager at 6-3 at the time. This makes it 6-4. You're starting to sweat a little bit. Pete Cokehead Fairbanks he makes you nervous, but he gets the job done every time. It's like uncanny with him.
There you go.
Cokehead.
There's the Coke nose.
Yeah. I mean, that dude is on something. Rays win game 2. So then we get to game 3. And game 3, again, is the story of Dodgers pitching. I mean, Kershaw and Buehler really, Seager's done a lot, Turner's done a lot, Betts has done a lot. This series so far is about Kershaw and Buehler. They've pitched 3 gems, and that's the luxury the Rays haven't had, is 3 gems from their starting pitchers. And Dodgers have won all 3 of these games. That's really been it so far for you can cut it however you want. That's really been it. This was Buehler and his short pants just dominating the Rays. I mean, he was filthy. I was watching this in a presidential suite in the Ritz, and this was a clinic from Buehler. Dodgers go up 5-0 this time.
My son said he rocks skinny jeans on the mound.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't know what that. I know this has been addressed. Like, this is a thing. Is that Walker Buehler wears weird pants? Has he actually explained?
I don't know why, but they do look like tight jeans. But
he'd be comfortable.
I mean, comfortable enough to strike out 10. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I guess it doesn't bother him, but 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 10 strikeouts. This is your start of the World Series. This is better than either Kershaw start. Again, not to take anything away from Kershaw, but this was dominance. And Charlie Morton didn't have it. Morton got blown up 4 1/3, 5 runs, 7 hits, struck out 6. He at least strikes them out, but he didn't have it from the start. Dodgers jumped all over him. Dustin Turner homers. Corey Seager's going to homer again. And at this point, Dodgers go up 2-1 in the series. And you just had to feel like, Henry, for this to be a good series, Rays had to answer.
I'm going to take some blame on the Charlie Morton thing. That right before that game, I put up a graphic that showed his stats and his numbers and how he was in big games. And then as soon as I put it up, he gets rocked.
I'm convinced. I don't have any proof of this. I really think it's just elimination games he's dominant.
It's weird, man.
Other games he's not. Other playoff starts, I think he's pretty pedestrian, but just clincher.
Win or go home games.
Yeah, he's lights out. It's very strange.
It's like the moment's not big enough for him. He has to have
ultimate.
ultimate.
You know who's kind of like that on a lesser scale? AJ Burnett. Burnett, every big, huge game he had to pitch, game 2 of the World Series in 2009. All of those games, he hung in there, pitched a great game. Every other game, he was terrible.
He convinced me of anything positive, and AJ Burnett.
He was lights out in that game, too.
Nope.
And they were down 1-0. That was a big game. Here's game
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, this is the back-to-back.
So this is Seager again.
hmm This is our pick for MVP. Me
Yeah,
and Vince.
8th home run that postseason.
What the fuck is
Rosarena.
this our shit? What the fuck is this our shit? Ours.
Hey, we picked.
Yeah.
We both picked them.
Good update for tomorrow is Gonzalez is actually being used as an actual starter,
Yeah.
not an opener.
No, it's not an opener. He's starting.
So that'll be interesting. Yeah. I'm looking for this pronunciation. It looks like it's not Gonsolin.
No, Gonsolin. I'm telling you.
Gonsolin.
You're
Looking
so
for
white
your-
sometimes.
It's what's Eddie Flynn.
You guys ready for the next clip? It's a
Hang
record
on.
breaker. It's
So-
a record breaker, Don.
So, well, is it game 4 or game 5?
I believe it's game. Actually, it's game 3. Another game 3 is
yeah,
Randy
give us-
Arozarena's dong. His home run actually broke a record for the most home runs by a rookie, I believe.
Yeah, put that one up there.
Yep, I got it right here.
Runs and most hits, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was another home run. I think this is his 9th home run of the postseason.
That's a Rosarena Furies. Yeah, so that sets the record 9. I know Beltran and obviously Seager and a few other people had 8. Rosarena for the moment stands alone. We'll see what happens the rest of the series with Seager. 9 home runs. I don't want to throw shade at Randy Rosarena at all, but
Don't.
mostly been solo shots, I feel like.
I'm not. Listen to me. This kid has come on the scene and he picked up the mantle where Lindor and all the other fun guys left off. Robert, and
Yeah.
these guys just didn't make the play. And Randy just took it and took it to another level. This kid is way too fun to watch play, man.
Oh, he's super fun to watch.
I'm not
He
taking
reminds me
anything
so
away.
much of Mr. T that I love it.
I'm not going to be one of those sample size critics. The kid is having fun. He is entertaining the hell out of us. I'm a big Rosarena fan.
One, he had 64 at-bats for the Rays this year.
Yeah,
Now he's got 9 playoff home runs.
that kid is amazing.
All of that's fantastic. I'm just saying, I'm looking at these stats here.
Those are the A-Rod stats I used to hate that people would pull out. Oh, A-Rod only hits a
Yeah.
home run when the Yankees are up by 3 runs or more. Fuck that. Home run's a home run.
There's a little bit to it, though.
Especially when you're a rookie on the big stage. Not everyone can do that.
He's 6 for 18. He's doing fine. He had 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. To my point, the dude doesn't hit home runs with guys. To be fair, though, I don't think – I mean, the guys in front of him have been shit. Austin Meadows has sucked. They backed him up. Brandon
Austin
Lau has
Meadows and
3 hits
Brandon
for all
Lau-
home runs.
They've disappeared.
Yeah. So you look at that. Brandon Lau has not been on base this series. His 3 hits are all home runs, which means when you're Randy Rosarena batting third, literally there's been just no one on base the entire series, whether you come through or not. And he's come through 33% of the time. So,
That's why he has to try to create runs when he's on base.
by the way, that's how all of my arguments go. I'll just argue with myself. I just have the positives and the negatives until I
not-
arrive
You're
at
not saying anything we don't know.
So yeah, I just successfully attacked and defended Randy Rosarena in the same thought process. But yes, I mean, yeah,
You
yeah,
both won and lost, and you're claiming
Yeah.
victory against yourself.
that's right. Yeah, now I'll hedge something, and that's how I win my own argument. So, but yeah, I mean, Randy 9 home runs in the postseason is amazing,
Yep.
and he's definitely the reason the Rays are here. I don't think they get out of the Astros series. They may not get out of the Yankees series without
Right.
him. So
No, they definitely don't. I mean, he terrorized the Yankees.
yeah.
Yep.
And that home run in Game 7 of the ALCS, probably the biggest home run in this postseason, I think, for anyone, was him hitting that first inning home run Game 7 of the ALCS.
Yeah.
Just with all that pressure on the Rays for him to do that, and it was a 2-run shot, that was the biggest hit to me of the entire postseason, I think. So, so that was Game 3. So we got a 2-1 series here. And then you get to Game 4, which was an interesting one because I don't think, this is where it's kind of that part in the rotation where, like, no one has a starter left.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers have their 3 guys. Rays have their 3 guys. You get to Game 4 of the World Series. 10 years ago, people would have looked at you like, how is that possible? Who got hurt? Now it's commonplace. You have just openers for game 4 of the World Series in a 2-1 series. But that's what happened, basically. So you have this. And this was the back and forth all-time classic. I mean, we can talk about this game forever. It's right up there with that 2017 Dodgers-Astros game, which Dodgers lost there. This is the culmination of it. Chris Taylor boots it. Here's the throw home, cut off, man. That part's right. Goes to Will Smith. Just so improbable, but that happened. I saw this argument, Henry, about I think Michelle actually introduced it with Kenley Jansen in all of his choking glory did not cover home there. But I'm on team it really wouldn't have mattered because no one's covering home where that ball went. Like Will Smith.
No, I'm of the other camp. I totally disagree. I think that's why you take PFP. I think those are the things you learn. If he's behind him.
But he wouldn't have been behind him in that direction. He would have been behind him on the third base side.
It would have been enough time because Arozarena got up and started running back to third base, and it wasn't until he saw Will Smith scrambling for the ball that he started to go back.
But he wouldn't have known that's like
there was enough time for it to be
feet the other direction.
Put it like this: there was enough time for it to be potentially a close play. Because now
he wouldn't have been closer to the ball than Will Smith, is what I'm saying. He would have been backing up the other side. But throw came.
Yes and no, because he would have seen where the ball was. Will Smith was looking for that ball for a good 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, but I don't think he can cover the 10 feet behind Will Smith he is on the third base side to 10 feet to the first base. I mean, he's not.
I don't know, but if he's backing up the catcher the way he's supposed to be, we're not even having this discussion.
But we are, because he would have been backing up the catcher on the third base side, not the first base side where the ball went.
Right, but he would still see the ball. Even with just the mere presence of a pitcher being there, Arozarena may have run back to third base. This is still a rookie
narrative I bought. And again, to Michelle's credit,
that base running, he was all over the place. He showed how young he was. Because
I have to be fair here, because when this play happened, I said Arozarena's awareness to not have put his head down and run towards third once he knew he was out by 15 feet was incredible. Like, for Arozarena to know to keep his head on the play and then see it get booted and score, props to him. But going along with that, I have to be fair, is props to him, because had Jansen been backing up, even if it was on the wrong side, that might have been a deterrent enough where he knew, okay, I'm beat. I got to try and go back to third or get in a rundown. Maybe. I still don't think it would have mattered. I think that play was so fluky and improbable that it just, you had 2 errors in one play and you lost. Obviously, Will Smith and the way he handled it was exactly like Gary Sanchez in 2017 when Altuve scored the winning run in the ALCS. I think we've got a frozen Henry.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. So anyway, it's kind of, I'll just declare this also a victory on my end, because
right.
He can't defend himself. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess try and send him the link if he needs it. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking here. But anyway, so I see that play. It reminds me of Gary Sanchez and how he plays like a dumbass in that ALCS game. I think it was game 2 of the 2017 ALCS, where Altuve scores from first on a ball that didn't actually make the gap. It was cut off and right. Sanchez, just an easy ball to field. He drops it. Altuve scores. They lose. That was the first thing I thought of. And then you've got but, the Taylor thing, he boots it. That probably gets Arozarena to third. And then you've got the play at home, and that's booted, and that scores a winning run. So a crazy ending, Henry, to an all-time classic game.
Yep.
It's probably what you need.
Yeah, he's probably on mute.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's still playing around. But that game back and forth. Rob, did you watch all of that game?
Yes, I did. Actually, I was on and off. I was so tired that night, and it was just. But the thing is, I did catch most of the end of that 9th inning, and I was just when I saw the first runner could go on base, it's I think the Rays are gonna just take this take this game right here and probably just.
Yeah, I gotta be totally honest here.
Mm-hmm.
I watched until 1 out in the 9th inning. And then I fell asleep. I was in bed for the last 3 innings of that game. It ended late.
Right.
one out in the ninth. I'm dead serious. And then I don't remember anything. And then I woke up and I saw that the Rays had won. And then I watched the highlight.
Right.
And I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of my life that I did not do that live.
Yeah,
Did Henry have a wardrobe change as he came back on camera?
no, right?
I was wearing this.
All right.
I actually had to change over to my phone. I don't know what's going on with my connection at home. So
We don't have too much left, so you should be okay.
yeah, but I did want to. Yeah, I know I wanted to talk about that game because it was something special, man. That's a game that it'll last the test of time. So
Yeah. Well, take you through it real quick. Dodgers lead 2-0. Rays score a run. Dodgers lead 3-1. Rays score a run. Dodgers lead 4-2. Rays score 3 runs. Take that 5-4 lead. That was the Brandon Lau 3-run shot, biggest hit of his life. And then the Dodgers take the 6-5 lead the very next half inning. Rays tie it with another home run. And then it's 7-6. And then you head into the ninth. And that's when you see those last 2 runs on that play. So back and forth.
yeah, it was 8 straight half innings with a score.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And
that,
I don't
by the way,
think
those 2 errors on the last play, the only 2 errors of the entire game.
I don't remember the last time I saw 8 straight half innings with the score.
Yeah.
Like it was just back and forth, one moment after the next. You just knew that whatever you scored in that inning wasn't enough to sustain and win that game. You needed more, and you needed more, and you needed more. And for that game to end on all of those things, I know the guys at Total Bases also touched on it yesterday.
Mhm.
You could probably talk about this on 6-7 straight podcasts, how amazing that game was, how amazing that ending was. The bad base running, the Jansen play, which we will disagree on.
Yeah.
There's just so many variables on one singular play that I just can't remember having that many things happen to end the game, nonetheless, on the World Series. So I know some of the Met fans brought up Buckner. I think it was almost to the day that it happened.
Wow.
But even that was like a singular event. Like this was like 2 booted balls, bad base running, good base running. I thought he ate the stop sign, but the guys at Total Bases did go back and look. They did give him the go sign. So there was just so many things that happened, and it was exciting as hell to watch, man.
You know what this was the baseball opposite equivalent to was the helmet catch in football. Eli Manning getting out of that tackle and then to throw it up into
David Tyree saving Eli
no man's land, and David Tyree catching it with the side of his head. Like those were 2 very fluky things that worked out. These were 2 very fluky things that conspired to make the Dodgers lose that game.
And it changes everything so much. I mean, you're talking about taking a commanding 3-1 lead versus tying the series up. So it changed everything. You're down 3-1. There's not a lot of teams that come back from 3-1 and win the World Series. So huge implications. So for it to happen that way, it was just amazing.
What I liked about that moment was when Randy Arozarena was turning the corner and he did like a somersault, did like his best that Daniel Jones impression, like he got shot by the state sniper or something like that. I don't know what it was, but the way he just regrouped and then just was, he saw that the ball wasn't caught by the catcher and how he just ran, he just basically slid to home was like the best moment. Like I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's one of those plays that you can play and notice something new every single time about it.
Absolutely.
Like the Jeter flip play is another one that comes to mind. Just like there's so many things going on that are out of the ordinary that you have to like go back and watch it a few times.
One of the things that stand out to me is that's a moment that I wish the stands were full.
Yeah. Oh,
had that game, first of all, that whole game, but to have that walk-off like that with fans in the stands would have been terrific.
Yeah, the Rays would have been at home. That would have been 25,000 just incredibly loud fans if that was at the Trop.
Just the NLCS.
The shade.
just the NLCS and the World Series themselves is like you really want to go visit this new park because the Dodgers basically this is their second home now. They've been in this stadium for a good month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
That's a good point.
yeah.
I like to think of it in a more morbid way that since it belongs to the Texas Rangers, this might be the last time we see a World Series in this park.
Very
You won't be wrong.
It's plausible. I mean, what are the chances, right? The Rangers went to it twice, and that's been it.
I'd go out on a limb and say you see the Rays play a World Series game there before the Texas Rangers again.
But, yeah, I think there's something to it. Yeah, so
I do have one more clip.
that game made it a series, and it also kind of elevated this World Series from they take turns beating each other to we have a World Series, and now we have a classic, and if this thing goes 7, we have an all-time classic. That's how powerful that game was. Now we get to game 5, and this was now the storyline, right? Rays win a memorable all-time classic game. It's a 2-2 series. All the pressure's back on LA at this point. The one thing, silver lining, Henry, you could take us through this game, is that Dodgers had Clayton Kershaw on the mound.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back now. Here we go.
You all good?
Yeah, I'm good. Rob, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just Vince, you gonna repeat that again from that? Because
Yeah, play the clip.
yeah, we go.
Say it.
Oh, this is the attempt to steal at home. This was brutal. This was bad base running. I don't want to hear it. They didn't come out to say if he did this on his own, Margot, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say he did that on his own, because if you look, Muncy on first base. I mean, not Muncy. Who was on first base? Shit. I forgot who was on first base when it happened. There's a runner on first base.
It just
If
from
he-
the walk, yeah.
If he's stealing home, that runner should be going to second.
Yeah.
You break to second, you try to get caught in the rundown just in case something you get Kershaw's attention, but he went on his own, and I'm sorry. I know I've seen people defend that. That was just brutal in that spot. You cannot get caught. You cannot end the inning there. Not when, one hit changes that whole game again. You can't get caught doing that. So I'm sure he's going to get fined in kangaroo court for that one.
And it was pretty close too, that play when they did the replay.
It was that was the other thing. How does Kevin Cash not challenge that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I always wonder this about managers and challenge. They treat these challenges like it's like, major currency. And I don't understand. That is the game right there. Like you have to understand that.
You had no reason not to challenge that play whatsoever. It was just foolish. You challenge it. Just maybe they see something you didn't. It's so close that you got to challenge it.
That play I wrestled with for a while. Like in a vacuum, I didn't mind it because of the reasons people have said to defend it. That Clayton Kershaw's a long windup. He's a lefty. He, wasn't paying attention. Margot's fast. Like all those things make sense. And those would all be reasons to try and see. Kiermaier's a lefty. It was a bad matchup for the batter. I get all that. Ultimately, I'm kind of with you, Henry, in that I think it made more sense to see if you can catch Zunino sleeping if he throws through to second, and then you have something of a and then you try and
you try to steal a run that way. I get it.
That's a safer move.
It reeked of desperation to me.
Yeah, well,
Kershaw did get hit a little hard in that inning. The balls that were they did get hit a little hard.
I'm sorry. It is worst case scenario if you don't steal home or try to steal home there. And we can all agree stealing home is a low probability of success. Like that's just not something that is likely to happen. But if you don't try and steal home and Kiermaier sees that at bat through, obviously there's whatever percentage chance he's going to get a hit. But it also turns the lineup around for the next inning. Then you have the top of the lineup next inning. So those to me were two kind of positives in a one-run game. And to your point, the Rays had all the momentum at that point. That's the main reason that you don't do it, is that you have taken all of your momentum and you've basically put it into one moment, and it's a low probability moment.
It was gone right away.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with no confidence in the bat. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they let Brett Phillips bat in the game before to get the game tying and ultimately game-winning hit. So, you got to have faith. I just think you got to let that play out. You have to. There could be a wild pitch. There could be so many things that happen. You have to let that play out. You cannot have a a brain fart. You can't have a gaff that big. That's just bad baseball, period.
Yeah. It's not something ultimately that I agreed with.
But like we said earlier, it's a game of narratives, because now what happens is if he's safe, the narrative changes. The Rays are clever. He's excited. You know what I mean? Everything changes on that play. At the end of the day, it's a bad baseball play with extremely low percentages to work out, and it definitely didn't work out.
I'll say this anecdotally again. I'm watching.
Boneheaded play of the week.
If it came from Cash, absolutely. I'm watching that play again in bed next to my wife, and she does not watch baseball often. It presented a history lesson. I got to explain about the time Jackie Robinson stole home and won the World Series. So at least there was that. And it also
Did she listen?
Huh?
Did she listen?
She was very into that attempt of stealing home. Like, she thought that was the coolest thing ever. And like Manny Margot, if he, in her words, if he were safe, would have been like her favorite player. But since he's a failure, now he's a loser. So
she'll have to settle for Randy Arozarena.
Yeah, that's exactly right. She has seen her share of Randy Arozarena this postseason too. But she was like, as a non-baseball fan, she was totally into it. So like in a vacuum, I'm like, that was really cool that we got to see it. Obviously, it's much cooler if it worked. But from a Rays standpoint, in that moment, in that situation, not a smart play, didn't work out. Rays don't score the rest of the game. Dodgers had that run almost immediately after with Muncy. And that's the story of Game 5. Now you've got a 3-2 series.
Speaking of Muncy, man, that home run he hit, ooh, boy, I don't think it landed yet.
No, he knew it wasn't going to, because he pimped the hell out of that one.
He pimped the hell out of it, and he deserved it. You hit a home run in the World Series like that. Look, you're going to time my timer on the bases because it's going to be the slowest thing ever.
Yeah, I guarantee you he was hoping there was an ocean beyond.
I'm twirling, I'm pirouetting, I'm high-fiving myself. I'm not doing the Bellinger where I'm dislocating my shoulder, but, I'm pimping that shit.
You got to do the hacky sack celebration now. That's the cool new thing. But, that was a bomb. Dodgers up 3-2. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum. They're one win away. I think they're going to get it. We both picked the Dodgers before the series started. I'm sticking with the Dodgers now. They've looked like the better team. Yeah, you have the Muncy. Oh yeah, here it is.
Oh, there it is. That shit.
When you drop that shit like Thor drops his hammer, like that's how you know you have crushed the baseball. And look where that one goes.
If that's the last dong of the season for us, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, that's a great way to send off Dong City. And it was great to see Glasnow look like a little girl, like he always looks.
Well, look, at some point we're going to have to sit there and look at Glasnow's performances in the postseason because he sucks in the postseason. Yeah. He went back to Pittsburgh Glasnow.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's been a weird postseason for him. It makes me, obviously it makes me angry at the end of the day because the Yankees are the only team that could not adjust to Tyler Glasnow and just shorten their swings, which is obviously what the solution is. It's just don't strike out 12 times and you've got a good chance of hitting him. Yankees didn't grasp that concept either time.
Well, here's the funny thing, because we shit on the Yankees for having an all or nothing team, but this is the postseason of all or nothing. This is the postseason of the home run. If you out homer your team, you have won, I believe, every game.
It's been like that since 2017, real quietly. If you remember the Astros run, obviously they knew what pitches were coming, made it a little easier, but they set the record for home runs. And then I think like the Dodgers were like second or whatever in 2017. So it's been like
something, but they need a balance. But yeah, this is the postseason of the homers. Dong City, baby, come on.
Yeah, it is. The only thing I'll say to that is, you shorten your swing, you drive in runs other ways, you're going to get into more favorable matchups.
Again,
higher pitch counts, more pitches, deeper relievers, all that stuff, and that's going to raise your chances of hitting home runs. So
you get obsessed with launch angles and barrels, and that's what you get.
That's these teams that are winning, assuming the Dodgers, even if it's the Rays, win the World Series, these teams that actually end up at the top of the mountain are the teams who can score in other ways. We've seen the Dodgers shorten their swings and have rallies. We saw the Nationals do it. We saw the Red Sox do it.
Except stealing home. Don't do that.
Don't do that's not necessary. But the 2018 Red Sox hit a lot of home runs, but they made a lot of contact. They ran the bases well.
They also knew
they cheated. That helped. The 2019 Nationals, shortened swings, contact. They forced the issue. They put the ball in play. 2020 Dodgers, yeah, they can hit a lot of home runs. Contact. They shortened swings. Even Joe Buck caught onto it or John Smoltz, whoever it was, when he was commenting on how all they're doing is just shortening their swing and anything can happen once you hit the ball.
It wasn't John Smoltz because everything John Smoltz says, the opposite has happened.
Yeah. He was breaking down who was he break? One of the pitchers. Oh, May yesterday. And that was at least somewhat insightful. He was talking about if May
not a fan of John
a
Smoltz.
certain spot is pitches unhittable. Smoltz really isn't good for anything except pitching analysis, though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his at all. I'd rather have him come on screen and, like you said, pick something apart. I'm just not a fan of him.
Yeah, he's better for studio, I think.
I will say I'm a fan of Joe Buck.
Yep, we're with Dong City is pro Joe Buck. Anyone who wants to talk about the merits of it from a broadcast journalism
Absolutely,
I can discuss.
Joe Buck is the man. Get off. It's like you said earlier in one of the threads. Every team says he's anti them and he's biased. If you can say that, then he's doing his job.
Yeah, I seriously name one comment section right now if you're listening. Name one fan who has said, "Yeah, Joe Buck loves my team. He has a bias towards my team."
Mm-hmm.
One. Just name one fan base that's ever claimed that ever.
Yeah,
I'm not claiming it as a Yankee.
He's pro Boston. He's pro Yankees. Well, you can't be both.
Yeah, pro Cardinals. You get a lot because his dad was there.
Right. Pro Cardinals. He's pro Cubs, and I'm like, no, he's a national TV guy who does his job and he does it well.
He is pro story, which, if you've heard the term broadcast journalist, the word journalist from broadcast journalist goes to stories. We like storylines. That's what Joe Buck likes. So if you're a home team or if there's something cool happening or you have a storyline, that's what he favors. It so happens that tends to spread across 30 teams at some point. So every single fan base thinks that he hates their team, which means he really doesn't hate any team. So Joe Buck is a very, very, very solid announcer.
And he knows how to call big moments. He knows when to overdo it. He knows when to let the moment speak for itself. Sometimes he says as little as 4 or 5 words, and they're just perfect. So,
yeah, he's very good. I didn't get to listen to his dad. I've heard some of his calls, but he's doing that legacy well. Not a big fan of nepotism, but Joe Buck's really good at what he does, so good for him.
Yeah.
So there we are. So we've got a 3-2 series. Henry and I both sticking with the fact that Dodgers will win. I'll say 6. Henry says 7, so it's probably going to go 7. I hope it goes 7, but I'm sticking with 6.
Hopes it goes 7.
I'd love a Buehler Morton Game 7 of the World Series. All the pressure on the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw available out of the bullpen. I mean, that's a perfect storyline, and I hope that game goes 11 innings and ironically will not end with a runner starting on second base. That just would bring everything full circle for me in this 2020 COVID season. And next week, Henry, when we come back, what we're going to do, if you guys want to join us next week, and it's not an if, it's when.
I was about to say, you're giving them an option? Fuck that.
Yeah, you have to come back next week. We are going to cover all the World Series from the 21st century. So 2000 to 2020, we're going to rank them out. We're going to discuss them a little bit. Obviously, some of them are shittier than others. We won't spend that much time on them. But we want to figure out what the best World Series has been in this 21st century once we know how this one ends. We're going to rank it out. Obviously, if you're a fan of any fan base, this is going to be intriguing for you.
We'll probably put up a post to let it gain some traction. So
yeah, we'll get that ball rolling sometime this week. But that's what we're going to do next week. And then after that, we will start
2,000 wins.
We will start to address our off-season schedule. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of hot stove. We'll probably do some interviews in here, have some guests on, stuff like that. But obviously, it's a different kind of feel when we go into the off-season, as you guys know, because the majority of our shows took place in the off-season so far. So this is going to do it for us. So this has been Dong City. Good luck rest of the way, Dodgers and Rays. Hope that you go 7 games. Game 6 resumes tomorrow. Dong City back next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time as always. And tune into the Audible tomorrow. That's your football fix. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Matt Bushnell and Randy Hammond. This has been Dong City. Have a great night.
Dong City, bitches.